So we can jump right into it. Martin with some birds in the background today.
Can you still hear them?
Yeah, but it's cool. I mean, why not?
Okay.
Welcome back to the next set review. It's been a while, I guess. The last one was Crimson Vow, which was a set from last autumn.
Yeah.
And now we sit together to talk about some cards from Battle of Baldur's Gate. And we will start with the first one for all players out there who were disappointed about the Shurikai ban. Luckily, Wizards printed some cool wizard as a planeswalker, which is called Elminster.
Yeah, it's not a straight replacement. I don't think it will be as good or go to the ban list or anything like that. But having another Azorius option that's adequate, let's say it like that, is quite nice. And the card has some synergies with some different mechanics that have been printed over the years. And reducing the cost of cards is always good.
Yes, I think so as well. The design is quite interesting. I think there's no cards yet, or no planeswalker that has a Serum Vision as an ability, although most of us like Preordain more, obviously. But yeah, the minus ability is cool. There's no ultimate.
Coming to play with 7 loyalty is really, really good.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, as we've known from Oko.
Yeah.
But I think
it comes with 6, right?
No, it's 5 and then +2. So just like Oko, right?
Really?
No,
Oko is 4, I guess.
Oko is 4 and then +2.
Oko and then 4. Yeah. Oko. 7 would be insane, I think.
Okay, so it's a balanced card.
It's 4
right.
+2. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fair and I think the minus is pretty good if you need it. Like you will find situations where you get a good setup for it. If you play mono blue, I think you usually play a few cards that are above CMC 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So and making 5 blue flyers is really good on the defense and on the aggressive side.
And also, like, it enables some situations in which there might be certain matchups, for example, in a control matchup where you can't make use of your Wrath or anything, and then you can scry it to the top and to prepare to exile it with the ability and transfer it into tokens, which is quite cool, I think. So the next card is Cultist of the Absolute. That's a background. Apparently, due to the rule change, backgrounds are not playable the way they meant to be played as a second card in your command zone. Nevertheless, I think this background is that good that you would include it in a few decks. For example, Jadar makes a perfect synergy because you have your zombie token entering all over again, which can be sacrificed, and then you have a 4/4 for 2 mana with ward and flying and death touch. And apart from that, Yuri also makes a great deck for something like this due to the sacrifice trigger, and the overall game plan is well set up for a card like this, I guess.
I also believe that this is good in Hogak, but I haven't played the deck, and I just think that Death Touch and Trample are usually go pretty well together. Flying also works. So
I might be wrong about my assessment regarding Hogak. I think it's probably not suitable for Hogak, but I might be wrong there. Maybe we will see it, even if it's just.
It's worth testing out, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you there. Let's talk about the Grizzly Bear.
Yeah.
So that one stirred up some conversation, so to say. Apparently, Wizards has a favor for printing a lot of keywords onto green cards. If we think about Questing Beast and Elder Gargaroth, and even back in the days with Thrun, I think it was the first mythic that was more or less overprinted. Yeah, and looking at this card, it's pretty much the same on an uncommon. It has everything you can basically dream of.
I think especially the spell can't be countered is pretty new territory for commanders. I don't think we've seen a lot of commanders that are uncounterable yet.
Thrun, as I just said.
But yeah, okay, but that card hasn't seen a lot of play,
That's
so
correct.
And this one might do. And I think that will leave people pretty confused, especially if they can't even remove him efficiently after the bear hits the field.
Yeah. That will definitely lead to some confusion, as you said. And we were just talking about which is the best color combination for the bear. We thought a bit about it, and at first I thought it would be cool to pair him with blue. I think the Simic card pool doesn't make it at all. And white might probably not be a good addition either, since you can't really run a Boggles plan, and it's not a better light pulse either. There's no sense to play Golgari. I mean, if I want to pick up a Golgari deck these days, I'm probably going for Grist. So we ended up with red as a Gruul or maybe even a red-based deck. But I'm curious about what do you guys think is the best color combination?
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see some people trying out things, and then we'll probably come to a conclusion in a few weeks. What is the best color combination, or if the best color combination is just to not play this card because it's bad, and we all are wrong in thinking about it.
that could be the case as well. At least we can give it a try and pauper, Martin.
That's true. Giving it a try might be good, but I'm just scared of playing against it as a Essence Scatter aficionado.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, next up we got Sailor's Bane. So that's quite a weird one. The Dragon Turtle, Ward 4, quite a high mana cost, but it's reduced due to the instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard and even in exile, as well as adventure cards. I think that's the first card that has reduced cost due to adventures.
Yeah. I think they've tried a design that was like instant sorcery cards you have in your exile, I think, or something like that. I think there's a similar card, but nothing has said yet that you just get real cost reduction for adventure cards in your graveyard or the exile, no matter where they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, with Crackling Drake, you got cards that count power, for example. And I think there is another Drake that does the same. Enigma Drake, I'm not sure about it. I think there's another uncommon Drake. But yeah, as you said, it's not about cost reduction. So this one is strictly a better Cryptic Serpent, the card is called, I guess.
Yep.
Which is seen every now and then in some Vanifa lists. Was it? No, not Vanifa, Ravina. Varina, right?
Yeah, Varina.
Yeah, okay. There we go. What do you think about... I thought it was a dwarf. Actually, it's a gnome artificer. What do you think about Jansen?
Definitely an interesting card. I don't think we both have a good list in mind yet, but creating 2 treasures from sacrificing artifacts sounds like something that can be abused very easily. Mm-hmm. And giving that card haste makes it even better. And yeah, there probably will be a way to maybe loop this. Maybe in some KCI style deck, you will need a way to untap this over and over again, which I think is pretty not that hard. I think there are some untappers that trigger on artifact enters. But yeah. I think that the color combination is very good for a deck like this. You get red with all the goblin artificers, or how they are called, and white and black also help with tutoring, stuff like that. Yeah, I think there are some interesting cards that I've seen the first time when we were playing the Vintage Cube. There's this Ingenious Smith, it's called, I guess, which you would probably not include. I'm not sure, maybe you do. But there's another dwarf that triggers on artifacts being cast, I guess, and you can make clues out of it. Not clues, constructs, which is quite a fun card. So if it's about affinity, it's not always about blue magic. So you can also build around something in this direction. And yeah, we will see. I'm absolutely with you. Maybe we will brew something someday. Currently, we're invested into other decks, but it's definitely interesting. Yeah, I think it's one of those. It either works or it doesn't.
Yeah.
And if it works, it will probably be banned. And if it doesn't, it will be banned when the cards get printed. That makes it broken.
That could be the case, yeah. Let's see. There are a few interesting flash cards. We've picked out 4 of them. We will... Yeah, let's talk about the Archivist, which is the first one spoiled, I guess. So whenever an opponent searches the library, you gain 1 life and draw a card, which is quite a nice ability, I guess, especially in our format.
Yeah, we got a lot of people playing fetch lands and a lot of people playing tutors, so this is pretty nice to include. And also just playing a 2/2 flash for 2 is not that bad. People play Aven Mind Sensor and stuff like that, and while this maybe not be that big of a blowout compared to the bird, it's still a nice upside.
Yeah.
So I think this is worth trying out. It might just be for mono white, but maybe we'll see it in 2-color decks as well.
Yeah, I was thinking about, actually, the first time I saw this card, I was thinking about adding it to my Rafine Tempo list. Because
could be good.
I mean, it doesn't even cost double white. You have some flexibility in terms of paying the mana. It has flash, so you can keep up your counter magic, and if nothing happens, you can still flash it in. And maybe you can even, obviously it has flash to interact with opponents' searching library, that's for sure. But yeah, I think it's interesting for that case as well, apart from obviously including it into White Weenie. It might become a staple there.
Yeah.
The next one is Raggadragga, a human boar. And I think that's the first creature that grants a boost for mana dogs. I might be wrong. I haven't checked that in before.
I think that's the first card that strictly references cards with mana abilities. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's quite an interesting one. Definitely not a tier deck, since most mana dogs are just mana dogs. So I mean, these build around commanders are obviously dependent on your commander, and once you disrupt it, the overall game plan kind of falls apart, because then you're left with dorks that are small and not really dangerous at all. I mean, you can argue maybe that since you play so many dorks, you can recast them all over again, but as we know, that's not how Magic works, and especially, yeah, at some point it will not be worth it to recast him for 8, 10, or whatever, how much mana you ever want to pay for it.
I think if this was slightly tuned down and costs 3 mana, I think it would be more interesting. I think just the 4 mana slot is pretty tough to get going on a commander.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe 3 mana, 3/4. So
+1/+1.
Yeah, something like this.
Yeah.
To have like
ability.
a secure turn 2 drop with your dork, since you play, or you plan to play so many dorks.
Yep.
You have a nice lineup for turn 2. That's right. And the last ability is more of a fun trigger, I would say, because of course you could say now, I have a lot of dorks, I produce a lot of mana, so I can include some greedy X spells or whatever, but usually that's what I meant in the beginning, like that's even more leaning into this build around strategy, and it's not dependent on, okay, it might be dependent on Raggadragga if you decide to go for greedy spells to have a finisher. But then again, if your commander is not on board because he's disrupted a couple of times, you won't get a trigger, and you're left with your mana dogs and your X spells, which might do something if it's a Court of Calling, and if it's a fireball, it might not do that much. But yeah, all in all, it's a fine card. It's a cool design, but we'll probably not see that much play. Another card that I think is quite interesting is Battle Angels of Tyr. The card has flying in Myriad. Myriad is not very relevant for Duel Commander or 1v1 formats overall, but we've seen Giada, the Angel Commander, coming up recently at the Philippines, and yeah, I think if people go more into building this deck or playing this deck, at some point people might do, it's another nice angel to play in that deck. And the ability doesn't do something on ETB, you have to wait and connect with it, obviously, but I think it's quite strong. It's quite a good 4-drop angel.
It kind of helps you with whatever you really need. If you need cards, you get a card. If you need mana, you get a mana, and if you get more life. So it's very flexible.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just 4 mana 4/4 flying is a rough cost to ask for a creature nowadays. So we will see how it shakes out in the end.
That's right. But I think for Giada especially,
of course,
you have the additional mana in the command zone. That's what I was going for.
Yeah,
so, yeah, makes it a bit better, or easier to cast probably.
Yeah, true.
Then we have Nine Fingers Keene, however that's pronounced. I'm a master of pronunciation, as everyone knows. It has, so it's a Sultai commander, a potential new one with menace and ward, pay 9 life. I personally think that's insane for our format with 20 HP to have ward, pay 9 life. The trigger ability is, yeah, we've talked about that. Maybe if there is a deck that wants to win with Gates and Mace's End, this might be the way to go. Maybe it's still got us to play some. Yeah, I mean, in the end, it's a bummer. Like, but probably you can run this one as a 1 of 99 in the Gates combo deck. Maybe this one makes up for other strategies. It has menace. I don't know. It's only 4/4. For some reason, I thought about Infect. I think there is. I think there is currently there is a deck in France going around. Or there's a player who's experimenting with a 6-drop that has mutate, and he's playing, or he had played some kind of Infect game plan, which was interesting. Maybe this one suits this game plan as well. An interesting card. Let's see.
Yeah. And the Sultai card pool is very strong.
That's right. Yeah.
So might be worth trying out.
Yeah. Next up, we have a little gnome, a cute one, another card of the Flash cycle. And I think the first time this was spoilered, or someone in the international Discord spoiled the card, you were asked if this will bring back Path to Exile.
Yeah, I saw that.
You might state your opinion about that again.
No. Please don't play Path to Exile. But if you want to, at least have this gnome in play.
Right. Yeah, I think it's another cool ability, and could be quite a good one. Getting some mana advantage out of your opponent's fetching doesn't seem too bad. Also, even a better card against Gitrog or any other land strategies. I was just thinking about there aren't any land strategies at all, I guess. So forget about it. But yeah, I really like it. It's another one that I would probably include. Maybe it's not an auto include for White Winnie, but I would say I would again try it in Rafine as well, simply because it has flash again.
Yep.
So yeah, and I like the artwork. I like to play some Gnome Wizards. Let's be honest. It's cool.
Yeah, agree.
And then there's another one which also has some weird ability and flash again.
Not as cute as the Gnome.
Not at all. It's a fish horror, and it looks like it. So it's basically copying ETBs of your opponent's creatures.
Yes.
Which can be a good ability in some cases.
Yeah, it can be insane if your opponent plays like a, I don't know, Urza from the 99 and stuff like that. There are very, very insane examples, but it all depends on what the floor plays out to be. And I think that's something that has to be tried out. Of course, there are like obvious examples. Stepcaster sees a lot of play that could be good. Solitude can be very, very good. I think that in general the Flash evoke cycle, the evoke cycle, the new one, the pitch evoke cycle is very, very good with this card. Right. So we'll see how it turns out.
Every now and then your Reanimator opponent will flash in an Ashen Rider on turn 2 or stuff like this. And if you can, or an Archon of Cruelty or something similar, if you can make some use out of that as well, more than good, I guess. And in the case of Ashen Rider, he can't even remove the fish because it has Ward 2, and at that point he might not have the mana to pay it.
Yes.
So, yeah, and the last card we have picked out is Green Slime. Surprise, another Flash card, Flash creature. Yeah, I think there might be even red and black ones coming. I have no idea. By the time we are recording this, the full spoiler is not yet finished, I guess. But this one here is bringing back the Foretell ability from Kaldheim, I guess it was, right?
Yes. And it's bringing it back in the best way possible, which is Foretell combined with Flash. which makes cards very, very flexible. And this especially because it doesn't really increase the mana cost. You basically pay the same mana cost if you foretell it or not. So you can split the mana cost over multiple turns, which is very, very nice. And yeah, while we have seen a lot of effects that destroy enchantments and artifacts on enter the battlefield for 3 mana, we haven't seen them with a stifle on top. So that can be very, very good.
What I like about the fact that they bring back foretell is if you would currently include a card in a pile with foretell, since there are only a handful of cards that are played anyways, it's quite easy for your opponent to guess which card it is. Like if you, for example, if you play a white deck and you're going to foretell a card and it's a control archetype, it's probably Doomscar, right? And so right. They have some information, and the more relevant foretell cards we will get, the harder it is for your opponent to guess which card you actually put down on the table or you're going to play within the next turns. So yeah, and I overall I like this ability, the mechanic. I hope we will get more relevant cards, because it also allows for some efficient turns. Once you are not able to use your mana, you can just foretell some cards and make use of them later in the game when it's needed. Yeah, and that's pretty much it already.
I think while it's not the best set, I think if we would have covered the last set, we would have had a little more to talk about, what I remember. But I think this is still quite an interesting one. Bringing back a lot of reprints, especially. I think that's also a good thing about the set. Get a lot of reprints of cards that haven't been reprinted in a while with new, fresh artwork. So that's good for us. And yeah.
Yeah, right. There were some. Yeah, I remember them.
Maybe the next standard set will bring us a bit more power and impact to the format. But as we know, usually impact and power to the format ends up increasing the ban list by a few slots, so maybe that's a good thing.
Okay. With that being said, guys, thanks for tuning in, and see or hear you next time.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.